Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a while since I've made a video. In today's video, I'm going to be covering how to connect to Amazon Marketplace web service using MuleSoft. And while I'm going to that topic, I'll also be talking about how to generate the AWS signature version 2 in order to make a call to that backend web service. Okay, so before I jump into the Mule app itself to make the call, just wanted to give you a quick overview. So Amazon is in the process of updating their APIs and modernizing them as REST APIs. They're introducing the selling partner API, but the Amazon MWS APIs are still available. You can find the documentation here at this site and also play around with the API. They have a scratch pad where you can pass in credentials and make calls to those specific APIs and also see and run specific operations against these. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be running an API, the orders API, and just getting a list of orders from a specific account. Okay, so here we are in Studio. You can see I've just set up a basic flow. It has an HTTP listener at the front that listens at localhost 8081/orders. And there's nothing that I need to pass in into this endpoint. In here, I'm going to go ahead and set up a bunch of variables to allow this to be reusable. But these are essentially the specific variables that you need to pass into the Java class in order to make the call, in order to generate the signature before you make the call to the marketplace web services. So you need the secret key, the access key, and essentially I've parameterized them and stored them into the Mule properties file. I'm going to include a GitHub link in the description video below, and then there you can see this actual project. You can configure it for your own use. But you need the secret key, the access key ID, the seller ID, the MWS auth token, and there's a couple variables that are needed for this list order. So in this case, the marketplace ID, and then also an important one is the timestamp. You need the actual timestamp that in order to generate the signature and also pass that timestamp into the request later on. So you actually need to go ahead and generate that. So this one's in a specific format. You can see it has to be in UTC time. It needs to be in text plain, and then it also needs to follow this specific format. It's a specific ISO format. After you go ahead and set up all those variables, we've got the Java connector. So we're going to instantiate the class, and then we're going to go and invoke it. So let's go ahead and jump over here into the Java code and look at that really quickly. So in the Java code, I've got an operation called generate signature. And in here, I'm going to go ahead and pass in all those variables that I set up with the properties from the properties file. So you can see a timestamp, marketplace ID, seller ID, auth token, secret ID. And then down here, we're going to go ahead and put together a hash map of those parameters. So we need all those values. In this case, I've hard-coded list orders. You can also include another string in here or another parameter that you pass in to say, hey, we want to run this specific action. That's the operation for the endpoint. And then you also need to make sure you pass in the correct service URL in that case if you're going to be running against a different marketplace web service. Down here we've got the timestamp, and then again these are specific to the example that I'm showing you, but again you can customize this Java code to generate the correct signature for the operation that you're planning to run. Down here, once it creates the hash map, it goes ahead and calls the calculate string to sign v2, and this is where it puts together that signature and then runs, assigns it with the specific algorithm, and then in here back in the code, it's going to go ahead and return the signature back to the flow. Okay. So jumping back to the flow, once we get that specific signature, this is where the request is made against the Amazon Marketplace web services. So you can see here, here's that specific web service again, and then in here in the body, it actually makes a request. It creates a XML or form URL encoded body of the different parameters. So it has all the different variables that we decided to pass in, the timestamp, the version, and then it makes the call. And then the data that gets sent back, it's going to go ahead and take that XML data and then return that back as a JSON. Okay. So let's go ahead and just run this example really quickly and show you that in action. So I'll go ahead and start it up. Okay, so once that's started up, let's go ahead and switch over to Postman, and we're going to go ahead and make a call to that endpoint, localhost 8081/orders. Once we make that request, it's going to go ahead, grab the properties from the properties file, run the Java code to create the signature, and then make that request to the Amazon Marketplace Web Services and pull back a list of orders. Okay. So hopefully that gave you a good idea on how to make a call against the Amazon Marketplace web service. I'm going to include the example project here that I've shown you. You can go ahead and populate that properties file with your own credentials for your marketplace. But you can see it's pretty simple. And then with this code, you can easily take this code and incorporate that into a Mule SDK to create a connector if you want, or you can also build an API policy that will easily handle the authentication before it makes a call to the backend. But just some various ideas that you can do. But the key idea here is that this specific web service still supports V2, and that you need to actually create that signature before you make a call to the Amazon Marketplace. All right. As always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave a comment below. You can also email me. I'm happy to help. Have a great day.